Is getting your real estate license worth it if you want to be an investor? Today we're going to look at all the pros and cons of becoming a real estate agent and how that can help you or hurt you as an investor. Just a warning, I'm not an agent, but I am an active investor. I have started studying for my license, but I have been going back and forth on whether or not it's worth it. So that's partially why I made this video. So let's start with the benefits of becoming a real estate agent and how that helps you as an investor. The first pro, which is huge, is networking. If you're an investor, and especially if you're new, you're going to have to find real estate agents, mortgage brokers, lenders, insurance brokers, lawyers, appraisers, everything. The process of meeting people and vetting them to see if they're good enough to be working with you is hard and it's time consuming. It can take you a while before you find some really good ones. When I started out, I spent a couple nights per month going to meetups and constantly trying to meet new people that I can use as part of my team. But if you become a real estate agent, then guess what? You already have a real estate agent. And then with your brokerage, you'll end up having people that the brokerage knows and trusts already to start your network with. The brokerage has been doing this for years and has a team ready for you. Not only that, but if you're a real estate agent that gets to represent a lot of investors, then guess what? You get to network with other investors and you get to bounce ideas off of them as you want to be an investor yourself. My real estate agent in New Jersey, who's also my property manager, ends up calling me and we discuss investing ideas all the time. Should we invest here? Should we invest there? It's really good to have investor friends in your life to, one, keep you motivated, and two, to be able to bounce ideas off of to see what is the best thing for you to do. And one last part about this pro is that over time, as you build more and more connections, your network will be bigger and higher quality. So this way, when you want to buy your own investment property, you have the best people to work with in your market. People like new lenders and insurance brokers. The second pro of becoming a real estate agent is that A, you can make commission on your deals that you're buying for yourself, or you can even use the money to reduce your offer to make your offer more competitive. In any real estate transaction that has real estate agents, the seller's agent gets 3% of the purchase price and the buyer's agent gets 3% of the purchase price. Let's look at an example. Let's say you're a real estate agent and you're trying to buy a rental property for yourself for $200,000. If you're the buyer's agent of your own investment property, then you would make 3% or $6,000 on the sale. Now you have two options. You can either choose to make this $6,000 up front, or you can lower your offer to say $195,000 to make your offer more competitive than other people. But you're probably like, how is a lower offer more competitive? A $195K offer without taking any commission is $1,000 more than a $200,000 offer with you taking your commission. Because that $200,000 offer with the agent commission from the buyer side would be $194,000, right? $6,000 minus $200,000. This gives you a lot more flexibility when you're trying to make an offer on a property, because a lot of other investors and agents aren't going to do this. Normally, if you're just an investor, you would have to get an agent to help you with the transaction. But since you're using yourself, you get to make that offer more competitive by using yourself. The third pro is that you get access to the MLS for comparables and being able to see the properties sooner than anyone else. A comparable is a property that has similar bedrooms, bathrooms, and square footage and amenities as the property you're currently looking at. Most people refer to these as comps. When you get your real estate license, you now get access to the MLS, and that stands for Multiple Listing Service. When you see a property go for sale, it goes for sale first on the MLS. So when you see a property on Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, or Realtor.com, they're all getting their information from the MLS. They all just plug into the MLS on the back end. But usually the MLS has more data itself than all of those websites. You could find other comps that were sold or rented nearby. Now this is super crucial. If you're an investor, you need to know what other houses sold for and what other houses rent for, because that determines what you could sell your house for and what you could rent your house for. If you know me, I love data. I love to use data to drive all of my decisions for real estate. There are plenty of times that I needed to rely on a real estate agent for this information because all these other websites don't have accurate, up-to-date information like the MLS does. That accuracy is super important because it could be the difference between buying a profitable property or buying a property that doesn't make you anything. The fourth pro about getting your real estate license as an investor is that as you take your course, you get to learn some solid general knowledge about real estate. You're going to learn things about like laws and contracts, and that's all of my experience from the limited amount that I picked up on the course so far. Now, these things definitely aren't necessary for you to become an investor though. In fact, I actually hate the idea that a lot of people think that getting their real estate license is some sort of replacement for getting some sort of education around investing, because that's not how it works. I disagree with that completely. The course teaches you how to be an agent, not an investor. You're still going to need to learn how to invest from a mentor, from books, from reading things online, whatever it is. In fact, I'm running a 4-week class starting next week, and if you'd like to sign up for it, I'll leave a link in the description below. As you're learning for your license, you're going to pick up on some information about real estate, and that's great. More information sometimes is better. So it's a nice small benefit, but it's not make or break. The last pro is for the type of people who hate their full-time job. You can leave your full-time job, get your real estate license, and then you'll be a full-time real estate agent and investor within the matter of a couple of months. Most investors end up becoming investors because they want to leave their 9-to-5 job. That's exactly why I'm a real estate investor. Getting your license can be a quick way for you to spend all of your time in real estate rather than just using it as a side thing. All right, so that's enough for the pros. Let's go over the cons because I feel like no one really talks about the cons of getting your real estate license. They only see it as the pros. The first con is that getting your license costs you money, and not just some money up front, it's also money continuously over time. Let's go over some of the costs. It costs somewhere between $200 and $1,000 just to get the course for you to study. Then it costs another $85 to $200 just to take the test for your license. Then you got another $50 to $100 for a background check. And then every month as an agent, you need to pay a monthly fee to your broker. From what I hear, this is a couple $100, but it could be different from broker to broker. You then need to pay another $400 for insurance every year, and another $120 to be part of the National Board of Realtors. And then you're gonna have to pay another $50 to $300 just for continuing education every year. And then you're gonna have to pay for business and marketing costs, which depending on how much you wanna market, could be as high as $2,000 or even more. So it costs about $1,300 up front, and then every single year it's another $5,000 that you have to pay just to keep your license. Now, I bought my last rental property for $13,000 down. If you just had your license for 2.5 years and you held onto it and did nothing with it, guess what? You could have bought the same property that I bought and made the profit that I did. Now, these are just averages, and there are ways to reduce the costs and there's ways to increase the costs. But you need to be aware of these costs because these costs add up over time. Unless you're using your license every single year to make you money, then it's probably not the best idea for you. Now, the second con for getting your real estate license as a real estate investor is that it takes time. I'm a big fan of focusing and not splitting your focus too thin. Splitting your focus by spending time studying for your real estate agent test can take a lot of time out of your day. There's a lot more cost than just the time it's spent focusing. There's context switching between tasks. And so if you're not spending that time thinking about investing, then you might not be able to spend as much time investing every single day, and instead you'll be putting it towards becoming an agent. But on the other hand, if you invest regularly with your license, then it would be seen as an investment in your future. I told you that I started studying for my real estate license here in Texas because that's where I spend most of my time. But that takes 180 hours of study. I don't know about you, but that's like a crap ton of time. That's like a full month, full-time job, and then some. Not only that, but in Texas, you have to spend 18 hours a year afterwards continuing your education. Now, other states have less, like Florida has 60 hours up front and then 14 hours every single year, but you get the point. It takes time up front. And you need to realize that time doing something that is not your main goal does cost you something. We live in a world where everything is just seen as an additional benefit. We're not taking into consideration the con that comes in when we're thinking about how much something costs us in time. Time is something we'll never get back, and if you don't plan on using your license to generate you income, which you can use to make the time in the future better, then it might not be the best idea for you. Another con is the fact that getting your license is active income. It's not passive income. It takes work. Becoming a really good agent requires skill, hard work, and sacrifice, just like anything else. I know you see people on TikTok showing off these $1 million properties and making it seem like they just got their license yesterday. Usually that's not the case. Sure, if you get a good lead for a house that someone wants to sell and it's a really expensive house, you can make a lot of money in commission just from that one house. But to be good at getting the leads, to be good at convincing them to sell, to be good and feel confident in that situation, it takes time and sacrifice, just like anything else. You need to be good at generating leads so this way you can get people that want to sell or buy. You need to be good at showing properties this way when people come, they feel like they want to buy the property. You need to understand what your client wants and figure out what properties you can help them buy. You need to understand how to structure offers this way your offers get accepted. And you need to know how to make sure you can get someone from getting the offer accepted to closing, because people drop out in that time frame. And learning all of those skills is another use of your time. Over time, as you get better at it, you'll be way more efficient. You won't have to spend time learning and doing all this stuff, but it takes a lot of upfront time. And the business itself can never be fully passive. You can hire agents and start a brokerage. This way you're making income from them. But if you're not leading them in the right way, then it's going to be really hard for them to make you income. So just remember in the back of your head that this is active income, not passive income. But you can use this active income, and sometimes it can be really high for you to make a lot of money and use that to invest in real estate. So this way you can finally start collecting the passive income. To be completely transparent, I'm thinking about getting my license, not because I'll get the commission or because of any of the reasons I explained to you today. See, for me, I live in Austin, Texas, and sometimes I'm here in New Jersey at my parents' house, but I don't have any of my properties nearby me. And I make videos about investing in real estate. So for me, I want to be around real estate more and be able to go in and record videos of me looking at properties, even though I might not invest there. And so I'm using my license more as content purposes than anything else. That's if I get my license. So should you get your license? In my opinion, if you want to be an agent as a full-time job, then I highly, highly recommend you do this. I've spoken to a lot of agents that are also investors and tried to get their opinion. One of my friends, Paul, said specifically if I wasn't going all in on becoming a real estate agent, then it probably didn't make sense for me to do that. But if you want to get your license simply as an investor, then I would minimize the amount of time you're spending every single week and try to minimize the amount of money that you're spending to keep your license. And just realize that you have to be doing it to make more money from that thing than it costs you in money and time. The trade-off can be there, but I'm a huge fan of focusing on one thing, so I'm biased. Now, if you want to learn how to become a real estate investor and get all of the individual steps you need to get started, then click the video on screen here as I break down the entire step-by-step process to buying your first rental property. I'll see you over there.